Hello and welcome to Going Over Our Freds. I am Michael Kennedy, and with me, as always, is.
Meredith Halsey.
But we are not alone. We have a scoop invasion.
Scoop invasion! See them coming over the hills and ice cream. Don't think that they're coming to talk about ice cream. Don't know if they're friendly or not, so maybe run for your life. Scoop invasion!
Right now, we have Will. Say hi, Will. Who are you?
I am Will. I'm one of the Wills, I think, is my scoop name. I'm also one of the Wills on like all social media. I am just a Will, I guess. And I love movies. I have a hard time hating movies. So
Well, I will let you know. We let you off easy here because
you did.
this is probably the best kids movie we've ever done, and one of the more expensive movies we've ever done. But Will's not alone either, because we have another guest. That is Judge Mentalist.
Good morning, everybody, or whenever you're listening to this. Yeah, I am Judge Mentalist. If you are coming here through the Scoop world, you may have known me for the past handful of years as Elkton Magic Scoop. And Elkton Magic is in kind of a temporary, quasi-permanent hiatus. So as a performer, I guess it's time to go by my stage name in the Scoop world. So here we are.
All right, and what movie did we watch this week, Meredith?
We watched 1995's Stepmonster.
We watched Stepmonster, yeah, and this is our continuing series this season of Fred Olen Ray produced movies instead of directed. He also has the story by credit on this one. The director here is a guy named Jeremy Stanford, who doesn't have a lot of information about him. Near as I can tell, he's basically directed two other movies. One is a movie called Trantasia, which is a documentary about what is described, quote unquote, as a transsexual beauty pageant. And that's from about 20 years ago. And before that, and after Stepmonster, he directed a movie called Watchers 3, which is the third of a series of movies where a golden retriever with the IQ of 175 hunts monsters. And the first one featured Corey Haim, which is fun because this movie features Corey Feldman. So it's all related, it's all tied in together. Before we get started on the plot, has anybody here seen this movie before?
I have not.
No?
New to me.
Shaking heads all along. Okay.
I think I did. Yeah, I went through a Corey Feldman phase.
Yeah, so this was a direct-to-VHS movie played on the Disney Channel, even though it's a kind of a PG-13 movie and surprisingly horny for a kids' monster comedy. And our big star here, like, spoiler alert, is Alan Thicke. And Alan Thicke made a bunch of these kind of like Disney Channel-esque TV movies. Does anybody here remember he was in the Not Quite Human movies? Yeah, so
I'm
okay.
not familiar.
Meredith
No.
is shaking
I'm
her
not
head.
sure I am either.
Yeah, so Not Quite Human was this series where Alan Thicke played a scientist who made a robot son that went to high school. They made like three of these things, like Not Quite Human, Still Not Quite Human. It was kind of like Small Wonder, but he was more of like a 16-year-old boy instead of like a major.
Why would you make your robot go to school?
Well, he was trying to see if his robot was passable, I think.
Oh.
And then it was the standard adventures you have when somebody in your family is a robot or an alien or a teen witch or, anything in the 80s.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And but this is all related once again. It comes back to this movie because the robot son was played by Jay Underwood, who was in a bunch of like teen movies and stuff in the 80s. And what he thought was going to be his big break was 1994's The Fantastic Four, produced by Roger Corman.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie was co-written by the same guy who co-wrote this movie and also produced by Roger Corman. So this is kind of like all kind of connected once again to that, well, I guess a Fantastic Four movie that didn't ever come out, but is still probably in the better half of the Fantastic Four movies. So, all right,
I mean, I guess we'll see with the new Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah. It'll have been out a month by the time this episode comes out. So,
Have you guys gotten your Fantastic Foreskins?
What I saw that, was that for like Fortnite or was it for
Fortnite,
Marvel
yeah.
Rivals?
They weren't letting everybody look at promo and the language of the promo before just releasing it into the world.
Now, is if you offer Fantastic Four skins, is that anti-Semitic?
Maybe, possibly.
They're not forcing it on anybody, right?
No, yeah, it's an
Choice.
offer. You can
It's
choose.
always a choice. Meredith, how does this movie start out?
We go for a drive in the woods because what else do families have to do in the 90s?
Sure.
All right, so I guess they're gonna go spend the weekend in nature, go fishing, and the kid says stop, and they get out to examine a road sign which says no hunting except tropopkins.
Tropopkins.
So
Yeah.
we set tropopkins up as the monster of the film in the same category as Bigfoot and Loch Ness. They are named, but I would argue that those are cryptids and that we are dealing with a cryptid and not a monster. But Step Cryptid doesn't really have quite the same ring as Step Monster.
Well, and there's like more than one kind of monster too, because the tropopkins also will come with a sidekick, but we'll find that out later, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so who's our family?
Okay, so our family, as I mentioned, is Alan Thicke, probably most famous for playing Jason Seaver on Growing Pains.
Oh, yes.
He's Dr. Seaver. Our mom is named Molly Cheek, who basically is not super well known, but if you ever saw It's Gary Shandling's show, she played Gary Shandling's likable, platonic female friend, neighbor, love interest. And she was also the mom. Okay, now this is a deep cut that nobody will remember. Harry and the Hendersons had a TV show, and she played the
Oh,
mom on
gosh.
that.
Oh, wow.
Like a TV show within the show, Harry and the Hunters?
And the Hendersons had a spin-off TV show in the 90s that was like on in syndication. Yeah, I don't remember much about it. The only other person I remember on it was the woman who played Hooker in the John Larroquette show. And I think they might have gotten like, I want to say Kevin Peter Hall was in the show, but he might have been dead by then because I think he played Harry. But again, like, but she has cryptid experience, is what I'm saying. So it works out for her.
There's experience here, yes.
And what about our son, Todd?
Oh, our son Todd, he is mostly a producer right now. Like, so he's produced some documentaries like Cocaine Cowboys. His acting career is pretty limited, but he was okay, again, this is all like deep cut 80s stuff right here, or 90s. Do you remember this show Dear John with Judd Hirsch?
No.
Do you remember Judd Hirsch?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so Judd Hirsch was the main guy on Tax. He had a show
Okay, yes.
called Dear John, where he was in like the support crew after his wife broke. And his son made occasional appearances. The first like half of the show, he was played by Ben Savage. And then Ben Savage was busy doing other things, so they replaced him with this kid. And that's basically his most notable acting credit, is playing Judd Hirsch's secondary replacements.
The replacements.
Yeah.
Back in that era, and maybe this is a little bit of motivation for anybody that's out there kind of down on their looks, to just realize that like what is attractive must be evolving or cyclical, because apparently back in the days of Taxi, Judd Hirsch was like, Teen Beat, whatever. And if you look at him today, which is the same him from then, but in our modern eyes, it's like, who is this lump? Like, he is not, by what we would consider today's traditional attractiveness standards, off the charts at
The
all.
sexiest lump ever. Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of like almost like a Walter Matthau-y sort of faced guy. I don't even know. If you saw either of the Independence Day movies, he plays Jeff Goldblum's dad in those.
Right.
That's probably what a lot of people would.
I do know him from that, yes.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Hard for me to visualize him as an attractive young man because he's got big grandpa vibes for me.
Yeah, but if you go back to 1977, he's got, well, kind of dad psychiatrist vibes still. So.
All right, well, back in the woods, our family, Alan Thicke is playing George, the mom is Abby, the son is Todd, as we said. George is kind of a mean dad. He thinks that comic books are rotting his son's brain and that his son should be solely interested in practicing the violin. It's very, I don't know, twee to think about somebody thinking that comic books are the big bad, looking back 30 years.
I did want to say that like the intro to the film, the opening credits, is actually really interesting because it's super sinister sounding, but then there's just like random art supplies. And at first, I mean, having no information about the film other than the title, I was just like, what is this about? Because it's like, it's a paint palette and like an airbrush, and we're like watercoloring like a mountain scene, and this very like I said, sinister music is playing. But then it reveals that we were painting the cover of this comic book. So we established very early on that like this is a comic book, we're going into comic book world, and that this isn't going to be a scary, I guess, for kids thing. So I did like that a lot. And then as you mentioned, Alan Thicke's dad is like, that's bad, comic books are, keep your mind on music and art and class, not that scribble. Yeah,
I got a very, I picked up on that too, because I came in completely blind, not knowing what this was. And I'm sitting here watching this, unveil, and I'm like, is this Bob Ross's Beetlejuice? Because as we're
Yes.
coming into Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
you've got the scene of, the model up in the attic, and then of course it becomes the scene of where we are. And very much as they're going into the woods, we get to the setting that is the cover of this watercolor comic book.
And I did want to just point out real quick, and then I'll move on from my opening credits. But Roger Corman had like a little nod there with Corman Cosmetics written on the front cover and in credits.
Yeah, it was kind of like the EC Comics logo, but
Yes.
with Roger Corman's name thrown in there.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, and so throughout these like opening scenes, we do kind of cut to comic panels that are the exact same of what's happening in the movie. And that's going to come back kind of at the very end of me too. Dave Simons is the guy who's credited with making all of these comic panels. He worked for like Ghost Rider, Conan, and Red Sonja and that thing. I think he died prematurely of cancer, just to bring the room down a little bit.
just a little bit.
So
I did like, this is early 90s, mid 90s. I think if you were to do like this movie, a different budget and filmmakers and cast, but keep all those same elements of like, this is a very comic booky movie where we're not just like taking like a comic book character, but we're actually like really focusing on the whole world of comic books. I think it would still fit today, at least for kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's all kind of got that comic book kid logic throughout the whole. Meredith, also, if you ever like miss something in your notes, I looked at the Wikipedia. This movie has its own Wikipedia page, which doesn't have a lot for our movies. And I was going to screenshot the plot summary, but it took 9 or 10 screenshots. The plot summary of this on Wikipedia is bananas. It is got so much stuff going on. Like they give like details too, like in a touching scene between such and so and such. Like I think Fred Olin Ray might have written part of it. I don't know.
Wow.
So did they they come in and they say, we're going to give you 9 pages of text here because we literally set up the entire premise and moved into the second phase of the movie in 9 whole minutes.
Oh, because that was my note too. Yes, I had that same note.
We've got to give you some backstory. So here it is. Good, great. All right, here's like.
I feel like that's a very like Roger Corman thing. He loves to just like get into it like right away, regardless of if he has an actual like 80-minute script or if it's like a 8-page script that he wants to stretch to 80 minutes. We're going to do everything in the beginning. And I think to like the detriment a little bit, at least for me, I love how this movie just like it unloads all the responsibility of understanding where we are and where the next scene is on us. It doesn't care to establish distance or time or anything at all.
And quite frankly, a simple 6 months later.
Well, okay, so
very helpful. So one key point.
So that was in my note too, because the grandpa did say 6 months ago, like something about replacing my daughter in 6 months, which a little ahead of where we are now.
But that was like the 5th line he had.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't soon enough.
Okay, yeah. So
exactly. Yeah.
Let's go to that scene and we'll get to like how they handle that. Dr. Jason Seaver is an architect, and this is a working vacation for him, so he's going to build a house in the woods for Denise, yes, our vampy person who is definitely not a monster. And then the mom is out jogging. What is she doing?
No, she's just walking. She's walking through the woods.
She left like the campfire that her and Alan Thicke dad were talking about not being able to connect with her son because Alan Thicke just can't understand a child.
Yeah,
because mom and son are on vacation and
dad's
there
working.
to work.
Yes,
but no comic books for you.
Why doesn't a 12-year-old boy want to practice violin?
On vacation, apparently.
Crazy.
Right? Like
have you heard him play violin? Because that might tell you.
Yeah. We do end up hearing that, we think. But that's the thing too, is that again with the whole like location and time. So I guess this first act is really hard to talk about without jumping to like act 2 and 3, because literally you get everything within 8 minutes. And then at the 9-minute mark, you find out that it's been 6 months. So we go on vacation, a working vacation for dad, but it's a vacation for mom and child. And then this is where we meet Denise Gore, who's having a house built for her by dad Alan Thicke, who seems to be an architect, possibly.
He's an
right?
architect, but
Yeah.
he's kind of overstepping his bounds. At one
Yeah.
point, he's like doing interior design.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's like he has multifacets here with something that he does for other people. So then we've established that we had to drive to this, and then we never leave this place, and also Grandpa and Grandma live here,
Yeah.
and
We don't. It's kind of like Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, where we could really use some establishing shots
just
and
something,
like set
or
up
like
something.
a road sign that says like Townville 8 miles away, or just something that tells us how far we've
Now,
had to travel.
Yeah.
if Hulu or somebody of that ilk were to reproduce this today, there would be a reflection of a newspaper in a toaster that would have said 6 months later.
Right. But
We would have gotten it somehow.
So
It would also be a 9-episode series that are each
Yeah.
an hour long.
yeah,
So maybe we can dig into that first 9 minutes for an episode and a half.
an episode.
Yeah.
But this is where I go back to what I said earlier about myself, is that I have a hard time hating movies. And that I actually, I guess, convinced myself that maybe this illogical space-time issue works, because if you consider like panels of a comic book, and that sometimes it literally is just like from one panel to another, you just jump to a new location, and we don't give any service to like how we got there or what we until later on. Now, granted, I'm really stretching. I'm giving this movie a lot of leeway there.
Yeah.
But I did kind of be like, okay, for a kids movie, I'll buy that. I don't need all those details. I'm just going to go into the next and be there, right? So I was okay, I guess.
I will say that in that first 8-ish minutes, they do a tremendous job of building depth to the character that is Dad. You know by the quality of this dump that they're staying in on their quote vacation, and that he's also working. Hey, we filled in the entire fucking personality. Get your hands back on that violin. It's time.
Yeah, we establish kind of what a tropopkin is, that the dad's a jerk, that the mom is the only one that connects with the son.
Mhm.
And then we go and the mom gets seemingly killed, but not really, by a tropopkin.
Yes.
And what does the tropopkin look like, Meredith?
Oh, and we don't see it in this first.
Oh, we don't see it yet,
No.
right?
No, you just hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it growls. It's a growly thing.
Gargly, growly thing.
Yeah.
With big feet.
So then this is your time jump. We go straight from the mom's death to the grandma and grandpa talking to each other, and then the kid coming down and like saying, "Oh, we've got bad news." And you think the bad news might be the mom is dead or something like that, but then we cut to, "Oh no, your dad's getting remarried."
Yes, because in this moment, I mean, thinking of this whole time flux, like it jumps so abruptly to the point where you think, okay, they're on vacation. We haven't seen inside of this cottage. We've just seen them talking shit on the outside as they pull up, like, oh God, we're staying here. And then the kid's coming downstairs. That's the first thing that you see that's inside of a place. You almost think that this is Grandma and Grandpa's place, and we're staying here on vacation. And you've come downstairs in the morning, and then Mom's gone.
Yeah, it's really disorienting. And again, it takes till the grandpa's like sixth line to say it's been 6 months since she's, been missing.
Yeah.
So
And there's a slip up a little bit later in a dinner scene with these groups where the dad says, ever since Anne's accident, but what accident?
Yeah, they don't know what happened.
They don't know. She just went
vanished.
missing. Have they had her declared legally dead? Can you do that within only 6 months?
I think he would have to in order to get married again, right?
But yeah, this
Legally?
dad really pulled a Patton Oswalt, though, is what I'm saying. Like, the body's not even cold.
Oh.
Well, then that's the whole thing. So that's the whole thing about this opening with the 6 months later. Whose house are we in? And then also we've established Alan Thicke to be a dad of like class, or of some kind of like higher pedigree of society, or whatever it is that he's trying to portray. But then also we quickly learn, like right after, that he had the hots in 6 months for a client, and now he's going to get married to her.
Yeah.
Oh my. So I should probably take this opportunity to tell you, you guys are all over 30, right? Like,
Yes.
The grandpa's familiar to you guys, right? I'm going to play my favorite game of Meredith. Do you recognize that guy?
No, I do not recognize that guy.
Whoa.
His character name is Norman.
His character name is Norman, and he's played by George Gaines, who you should know from maybe one of three things. He was in Tootsie, he was in the Police Academy movies, and he was the dad on Punky Brewster.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so speaking of stuff that, like, kind of fell off the face of the earth. Like Punky Brewster was huge when I was a kid, like even had her own like spin-off cartoon show.
Yeah.
And no one's tried to reboot that property because I guess it's just we don't do orphans anymore.
No.
Not allowed.
Just no.
Yeah, no, I guess not.
Unless they're horror orphans. Like we don't portray orphans in a shining light. We've moved on to orphans being horrible things.
And secretly being 30 years old.
Yes, exactly.
But we had different strokes back then, whose theme song was written by Alan Thicke. Full circle. This is our full circle episode, guys.
Amazing.
Well, that's also the Roger Corman, I think, thing is that this dude is connected to everyone. And you could just go down many webs of who is this and why did they do this, and 30 years later they also did this. And
yep. Roger Corman sees the same people on the way up and on the way down, so we're gonna...
Okay, what about Shirley, our grandma? Is she anybody?
She's not like super recognizable, but she has done a bunch of stuff. Hold on. I had her pulled up on IMDb because I did not actually write her down. But yeah, she was in Being There. She was in Revenge of the Nerds. She was in Private Benjamin. She's been in a bunch of stuff. And she actually just died this year, so she was working a long time.
No retirement for you.
No yeah.
Okay, well, we meet, excuse me, George comes home because we learn that Grandpa and Grandma have been staying in George's home watching Todd for a little while. George gets back, brings Denise. Hooray, here's your new stepmother.
Yeah, and she's not at all suspicious. She's just a completely normal lady, even though the title of the movie is Stepmother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Denise is Robin Riker, who's, been popped up in a couple little things here, but I mostly know her for being the female lead in Alligator. If you ever saw Alligator with Robert Forster, surprisingly good movie. So,
but she did look familiar to me, so I did a very unusual thing for this podcast. I looked her up. She was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So, Kennedy, if you're watching along with your daughter, you're going to see her. Oh, okay. Well, never mind. She was, for listeners who might care, she was the cheerleader's mom who was pushing the cheerleader to win cheerleading awards. And at the end of that episode, she's trapped in the cheerleading cheerleading trophy in the school's trophy display box. Presumably destroyed at the end of the series when the entire city falls into the Hellmouth. That was
spoilers for the whole series of Buffy. Wow. Guys.
Okay, the show ended a million years ago.
It was on my list.
Oh man, I wasn't there yet. I had started with the movie, and I was gonna work my way through.
You were not. You were not. They're rebooting it. They're gonna have a new Buffy.
But
anyway,
why?
Well, because the
Joss Whedon needs money.
Oh, did Joss Whedon do the movie?
Joss Whedon wrote Buffy. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
He's basically, it's his IP.
Wow.
He didn't direct it, though.
Well, I think the kids these days want a new, hip, up-to-date Buffy who knows what TikTok is.
That's what the world's been clamoring for.
That's what the world needs. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, they're going to get married post-haste.
Post-haste.
George and Denise. And the parents, nobody's happy about this. Todd obviously doesn't want a stepmother. He wants his mom back. Anne's parents, Norman and Shirley, are very sad. They declare that they wouldn't forget each other so soon or move on so soon, which is very romantic. I agree. 6 months is too soon. But Denise moves in. And here's something that I flipped out about later in the movie when I realized what was going on. She moves in, is living with them, and George and Denise are not sleeping together.
Yeah,
they have separate bedrooms.
They don't even kiss or anything like that.
Yes. She's waiting for marriage.
We learn that they're waiting for marriage for reasons that will, make sense as we realize who she is.
They're both 45 years old or whatever. And...
They are old enough.
and there was a point, and I'm just now kind of connecting these dots now, so it's almost going to drive me to go back and rewatch this. But there is a point in which Grandpa, who is the mom's father, not Alan Thicke's father, turns to him and makes some sort of comment about why buy the cow when you're getting the milk?
Yeah, he does.
Oh yeah, but he's not getting the milk.
The moment that was delivered, I don't know that we realized that he's in fact not getting the milk yet.
Right, we didn't.
Yeah. He's got to buy that cow.
But Grandpa, of all people, Grandpa, who again is the body even cold, no spoilers coming quite yet, talking about you moving on from his daughter.
Yes. Well, like
Why do you need to rush into this? You're getting what you want out of it.
there's a
Like,
whole like pervy element to this family too that we
Oh.
like discover. That's actually like a major kind of plot point,
Mhm.
as we progress. But there's definitely a perv like in the DNA. So I
That's
think
right.
it was just like a slip up, as far as their true like unfiltered conversations coming through there.
They're the real step monsters, just
Yeah,
behind the veil of normalcy.
yeah, yeah.
The David Lynchian suburban underbelly going on
Yes,
here.
exactly.
All
All right.
right. So
So
where do we go next from this? From
it's
buying the
nighttime.
cow?
Yeah, it's nighttime. It's time for everybody to go to bed. And here's where we get to see another creature. Well, we meet the other creature. We don't see it just yet.
Hmm.
Denise is talking to a creature that's inside of a box. So she's got the box open, she's chatting with it. The creature isn't really saying words, but Denise seems to understand what it's saying, and
It's talking in Gremlin's voice, right?
yeah.
No.
That's about right. So she feeds it a goldfish, and there's a funny little lighthearted moment where she's hiding its existence from her betrothed.
Yeah, and Alan Thicke walks in, immediately notices, hey, we have one fewer goldfish.
Yeah,
Very observant. Yes.
count the
I think
goldfish.
I think he might have the Rain Man version of autism if he noticed that.
Yeah.
And
but he says it in a way that's like, oh, we lost another one. So you can tell that
This
this
is
isn't
happening.
the first time,
Yeah.
even though she just got there.
it's
But we're
yeah.
filling in a lot of gaps here.
Well,
This is
it's
also, I think, this is also the first of a few times. I don't know if this is actually the first, but this is the first that I noticed of like a moment where we immediately assign blame to the son, to Todd.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it must have been him, and everyone's like, yep, Todd's just a screw up. That's just what he
a
does.
real piece of
Yeah,
shit, that
yeah.
kid.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna be Todd. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't feed the goldfish. He doesn't practice violin. I mean,
Mhm.
oh, can
He's
this
a
kid
keeping
do anything?
calm.
So when she opens the jewelry box and it's just like a glowing light inside, you all thought it was Marcellus Wallace's soul
Yes,
in there,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not alone here.
All right. So later that night, Todd has set an alarm. So he wakes up. It's dark. I thought it was very late at night. But the alarm is so he can look through the telescope in his bedroom window at the neighbor girl who's
Yes.
getting ready for bed.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, this teenage character is objectified throughout the course of this movie and is frequently seen in her bra and underpants. So thankfully she's like 24 when
Yes.
but this is our another this movie has like kind of sort of semi-celebrities sprinkled throughout it. Like normally we have the Fred Olin Ray stock company and none of them show up, and that's funny. But this is Amy Dolenz, who is third generation actor because her dad was Mickey Dolenz, and Mickey Dolenz's dad was also an actor like that. And she has done a bunch of appearances and stuff like that. She might be most known for being the TV version of Sloane in the Ferris Bueller TV show, but I
Oh.
don't think anybody is most known for the Ferris Bueller TV show
No.
because
Yeah.
Parker Lewis Can't Lose was more popular.
Yeah, no, that they shouldn't have
No.
made that TV show. The movie was great. But
Th-
to be fair, I felt the same way about Buffy, and the series turned out to be
There you go.
amazing. Hey, all
So
right.
this moment of the telescope, I don't know if this was intentional or just because it's maybe at this point kind of a trope. But I was like, is this like a rear window nod?
Yeah.
It does
You
feel
know?
like, yeah, he's got his own very own Miss Torso that he's staring at through the telescope.
Mhm.
Yes. Which I mean, this film has several other elements that reminded me of other films. There's like an odor of Fright Night to the whole
Yeah.
thing. So
Well-
again, I'm not sure if that's just filmmakers using inspiration or if it's just tropes or whatever. But I did kind of like that. But yeah, so we've established heavily that Todd is a perv, and
Yeah.
he sets his watch by it.
Well, we get touches of all sorts of other things. This is the era of like my stepmother is an alien, my stepmom's
Oh, yeah.
a werewolf, like
Mhm.
all of these.
There's like a Stepford Wives type vibe to Denise as well, when she's like always in like the same sort of dress and very proper and trying to be like the perfect wife or whatever to
Yeah.
hide the fact that she's
Yeah, we probably could have had a scene where the monsters are watching like 60s television to figure out what a man wants in a
Yeah.
woman to be a man trap. I kind of thought
Exactly.
she might have pheromones or something like that because, she made Alan Thicke forget about his wife so quickly, but no, the family's
Yeah.
just horny.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Well, while he is spying on his neighbor, he happens to see Denise. She leaves the house and follows a jogger. So we, the audience, follow them a little ways along the road and discover that she eats that jogger.
yeah. She She doesn't want to eat any of our main characters, but she eats the jogger, no problem.
Yeah, she's got to get her food. And the next morning, it's already in the newspaper, the morning edition,
They stopped the presses, Meredith.
I guess. And
Small
so
town
they
news.
suspect like a wild dog is on the loose.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, wild dogs definitely eat a whole man.
Well, and we kind of get a glimpse when she do we see her monster form a little bit when she eats the
No.
jogger? Still no? Okay.
So we hear her growling, so we know it's even the most obtuse person will know that this is the monster from before. But she has gone into a doghouse, and the jogger gets on all fours and also crawls into the doghouse. That is where he meets his demise.
Yes.
That's some sort of weird cruising ritual in the suburbs I don't know
I
about, I guess.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was again like another thing that I kind of had issue, and I don't know if this is just like a Corman thing or if this is just straight to VHS movie type thing, but we keep bringing up the fact that we're not quite sure yet if we've seen the transition of like the mom to monster, and I think part of that is because they ram it down our throats so clearly that clearly this person is a monster, like is the title character, and the fact that we haven't seen it yet is kind of like this weird gaslighting to us almost. And the fact, that like, oh, we're not going to confirm it, but we've basically told you everything that you need to know so far. And I'm just like, just show us, just get there already.
Yeah.
Because like in something like The Lost Boys, there's still a bit of ambiguity where it's
Yes.
like, well, maybe
Yeah.
he's not actually a vampire. Maybe we're
Yeah.
all just wrong. But no, this is like, no, she's a monster. We just don't want to use that digital effect because it doesn't look very good. And
Mhm.
Where are we? Because I'm remembering another scene, and it's after a meal, and it seems like everybody leaves the dining room except for her, or maybe she comes back in, and there's like a rib.
yeah, she like
with
eats
some
the
meat
rib on the
left on
floor.
it, on the floor that she's like, "Rah." And you hear, you don't see any of the visual, but you hear that
I
monster.
think that's before the jogger, I think.
I think it
Must
might
be.
be.
I think that might
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Because it was like before that night that everyone went to bed. It was the same scene where the grandpa has like the aside to Alan Thicke whenever Denise leaves to go to the kitchen. I think that's that same scene. It ends with them leaving the dining room table, and then we see her pick up a bone. And yeah,
Yeah, and is that when the son and the grandpa were outside and the grandpa's talking about baseball for no reason? Because that setup and payoff, it's just terribly done.
yes.
Fred Olin Ray trademark.
Well, life must go on. And the next day, George and Denise need to go pick up a marriage license and put the house up for sale because as a family, they're going to move to the house that George designed for her in the woods.
Where the tropopkins live. That's the woods where the tropopkins live. That's
Yes.
important.
Todd does not want to accompany them, but George doesn't want to leave Todd home alone as a 12-year-old boy with a wild dog loose. And wouldn't you know it, their babysitter is the girl next door that he's been perving on. And our babysitter is Wendy. Kennedy, you already mentioned that she is Mickey Dola's daughter. Immediately, Todd, who is, I guess, in love with Wendy, but also really trusts her, he says, Denise is a monster. She's like, get off your bullshit. And now we meet Wendy's boyfriend.
Yes, the Corey Feldman.
Oh my God, he's such a good boyfriend. He's such a good teenager boyfriend. He's like the perfect archetype of teenager boyfriend.
He's he heard there was a movie where they were using comic books to discover the secrets of monsters, and he was like, "That's my specialty."
Yes, I'm in there. Yeah.
He's
Put me in, coach.
He's playing the frog brother, basically, just grown up a little bit. And his
I
his
did
character's
like-
name is Flem, by the way.
Yes.
Oh yes, Flim. I did like how Flim, and I was kind of hoping for this because immediately after Flim shows up, of course, Flim and babysitter go and kiss on the couch as that whole trope goes. Right, they're just making out, even though Todd is clearly old enough to not need any kind of supervision.
Right.
The boyfriend waited about as long as Alan Thicke waited to move on.
Yes.
Just show up after.
But at least Flim is getting the milk. I mean, come on. I did like how Flim, and I wanted this in the moment. I was like, I hope Flim like it kind of comes on the side of Todd and is like, yeah, like I've heard of this stuff, and he does, and that was great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Flem has also read comic books, although
Yes.
as a slightly older child, he has left comic books behind.
That's right. He's grown up.
Because he plays rock music and makes out with babes.
Yes.
That's right. Cool.
But he's clearly a deep-seated comic book nerd because he's familiar with this monster that exists in the comic book that only has 3 copies ever made of it.
And one is super rare. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So because Flem has this expertise, we learn that the summer solstice is of some significance to the tropopkin, and that is probably why Denise is waiting to eat George. Todd fills in the blank. The solstice is coming up, and it's their wedding date. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so help me out. So this is where I really struggled as a human. What is 6 months before June?
Also June.
Yeah, apparently, because we showed up at the same time that this all takes place, and I was like, because so that was said about the summer solstice, and I was like, wait, that means that like we're days or weeks away. So then 6 months ago had to have been January, but it was clearly a summer vacation somewhere in like the Pacific Northwest, and I was like, there's no way that. Yeah.
Was it secretly Christmas vacation the first?
Yep.
Something. Yeah.
Lost mom at Christmas, stepmom by solstice.
That's right.
Okay, my question is, why does the monster want to get married before she has sex with this guy?
Morals.
It's important.
Tropopkins have like very strong morals. They're horrible creatures, but they have.
Tropopkins were raised Catholic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you imagine like Species if they followed this rule? She's like in Vegas getting married to guys before eating them.
Right. Well, and I kind of wonder if like again, as you mentioned earlier, if there was like a scene where like these monsters, these Tropopkins like learned this culture from like, you know, something that they observed, and maybe they just thought that was how you had to do it.
Yeah,
and then
that would make perfect sense. Yeah.
And then I could understand how like in her human shapeshift form, she's just really trying to sell the fact that she is and this is what humans. So I can't, you know, I can't convince you to have premarital sex until we actually do all the moral stuff first. That would have helped a lot. But instead we're just like, nope, these shape-shifting monsters that eat anything, wait until marriage, please.
I'm curious as to the distinction here. Why she has to wait to the solstice to eat dad, but the jogger is fair game.
Oh, I didn't take it as eating dad.
Yeah, she just needs his baby better.
Yes, it was an impregnation thing, which also, did we ever get an explanation for what like the little thing in the box was?
No.
Is that an offspring?
It's a harpy, they call it, and they're used to protect the Tropopkins. I guess they're just
when it's in its human form.
Yeah, so it's just a different monster. I guess it's like the bird that cleans the hippo's teeth. I don't really know.
See, I thought she was going to eat the dad because my thought on the whole, you know, waiting until marriage thing was really a sum and substance of this is going to feel different than what you've experienced before. So you can have it at the point of no return.
Right. Well, maybe there's a twofold there. Maybe she was going to eat him after she got what she wanted from him. Yeah,
like some sort of insect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, well, now Todd is on a mission to get proof that Denise is a monster. I think he wants to get some photos of her, so he's got a camera. It's got a big flash, big expensive camera. This has not been mentioned before. Photography has not been mentioned as a hobby, but all of a sudden, here we are. So
that's how the rich people live, Meredith.
I guess so.
You just have things.
Those are fabulously wealthy architects, famously high salaries. Yes, those people. Okay. Todd waits up all night to catch Denise in the act, and she finally heads out to accost the paperboy. Todd follows, and he is not stealthy at all. He is popping gum the whole way. So Denise is like, I think I'm being followed. This is where we get to see Denise transform into a monster.
She just looks like a person in a gremlin suit.
Yes, yes. Or, you know, Poison Ivy who got like really poisoned out.
Yeah, but she has like Lady Gremlin vibes from Gremlins 2, the new batch. It's just if somebody was wearing that as a costume instead of it being a puppet, right?
Yeah,
like...
yeah, absolutely.
The face or head also kind of reminded me of that spitting dinosaur from Jurassic Park. You know,
yeah.
The fan comes out beside it, you know?
Is that the Dionysus? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll say yes.
Sure, why not?
Love that. All right, so Todd's taking photos. They're flash photos, which seems to stun Denise. And he's trying to get, you know, a clearer picture Well, I mean, we assume that he's trying to get a clear picture. His actual behavior is not so conducive to getting a clear picture. All
And you're
right.
hard on this kid. You're like Alan Thicke.
He's like waving the camera. He's like, you can't get a clear. It doesn't matter. It's also
Yeah.
nighttime. There's no hope for getting a clear photo. He stuns her with the flashes and runs home and wakes up George. Okay, so George does not believe Todd. He's like, go to your room, blah, blah, blah. Todd has the roll of film, so he can't review the photos immediately. This will be completely alien to any younger listeners.
Yeah, he's
You
got to
have to
take it
wait.
to the photo hut in the parking lot of a grocery store.
Yeah.
Denise has this wonderful alibi. She's been sleeping in the other room. She has no idea what's going on. It must be the comic books. Todd has an overactive imagination.
Clearly, yes.
So we have to destroy all the comic.
Yes.
A villain
yes,
move.
Absolutely. And like, okay. All right. So the next day, Todd wants to go develop those photos, but George is like, absolutely not. You're grounded. You better get up to your room and start practicing the violin. So what Todd does, which I thought was really smart, he had cassette tape recordings of himself practicing the violin badly. And so he just starts playing a cassette tape.
Yeah, he Ferris Buellered the situation.
Exactly,
So
yes.
good. So good. So he's out the window, he's running. Meanwhile, Denise is having some major reactions to the bad practice audio. She's getting a splitting headache, breaks into his room, and destroys the stereo.
Three rules of being a tropopkin and trying to interact with humans, okay? No high-pitched frequencies, no flash photography, and absolutely no premarital sex.
Exactly.
No premarital sex after midnight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so the kid repels out the window and then basically just gets into the neighbor girl's car.
Yeah, she was on her way somewhere, and he's
Who's
like,
on her
guess
way
what?
somewhere.
We're
Guess what?
gonna
I've
go
got
to
some
the
film
photo
and we
hut.
need to develop it.
All right, so it costs $6, which amazing. He makes Wendy pay for it because Todd doesn't have money, and he's so excited. He's like, "I've got proof. Denise is a monster. I've got the photos," and he hands the packet of photos to Wendy. He's like, "Look!" So Wendy opens up the packet of photos and sees all of his through the windows photo of her.
Yes.
So that goes over like a lead balloon.
It's I was going to use these as revenge porn. I don't really know.
This whole thing with the perviness in the family, we glossed over the scene in which Todd's startled at one of the times that he's looking out the window and goes and hides, and Grandpa comes into the room, sees
Oh, yes.
the telescope,
Yeah.
sees where the telescope is, and is totally like,
Oh, my.
good job. And then
Right.
Yeah, don't
It's
tell your
just-
grandma I looked through that.
this is normal.
Yeah.
Everything that's happening here is normal.
It's like it's in the DNA of this whole family.
You moving on from my daughter? Okay, let's go. Like
Story by Fredel and Ray. That's what's happening here.
There you go.
I just want to know what's in Grandpa's basement. I know we don't see their house, but
Ooh.
like there's something going on there.
I'm sure.
Sex dungeon.
Grandma's actually really freak.
But I don't want to give anybody any like ideas for a 20 or 35 year later, spin-off movie. But there
Step
you go.
grandma. Step grand monster. There we go.
Todd has to walk home because Wendy left him at the photo hut. But as soon as he gets home, he hears some like odd whispering, and he follows his ears and finds that box with the harpy inside. So he opens to see what the noise is. The harpy gets out. He's like, "Oh no, another monster!" Grabs a baseball bat and proceeds to destroy the living room. And of course, the harpy
Yeah.
gets away unscathed.
And the harpy looks like the bat gremlin. So we all look like different gremlins here.
Mhm.
Just yeah,
I mean,
and then he
that's
gets in
true.
trouble for destroying the house because he destroyed the house.
And this is where George takes away all the comic books. He's like, "No more comic books. How dare you destroy them?"
Now, and is it after that's the grandpa takes him to the comic book shop?
Yeah,
So much happens in this movie. And the order doesn't matter almost at all.
not
Mhm.
really, no. Well, the next thing that happens is George is going on a day trip to San Diego for work, and this is great because it's stepmom son bonding time.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So
Yeah.
she makes him do a bunch of chores, and they do that whole like speeded up footage of him mowing the lawn and like doing that while she's laying on the couch, not eating bonbons, but whatever the monster.
Pretty much. So while he's doing chores, he devises a booby trap, lures her into it. It's basically like a Looney Tunes, like catch the monster in a net and the net will go up. There must be a real name for that type of trap.
I believe it's like a snare.
Okay, great.
But
I thought that was the name of a drum.
It is.
Awesome.
What's the relationship there?
They're
Alphabetical.
Yeah, exactly.
I think actually the connection is that the reason it's called a snare drum is because there's a thin wire at the bottom that gives it that buzz, and a snare is also used to trip the trap. A thin wire is used to trip the trap of a trap. So I think that's
thank
where
you, Will.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. I will accept that explanation.
I also can't confirm that that's also the real reason why. I just made that up. So
no, it's
no,
canon.
It's 100%
it's
true.
truth.
This is on the internet now. It's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So the monstered out Denise is in this snare trap when George comes home, because I guess it was a day trip. They must all be on the West Coast. But immediately, like just as Todd has this satisfied smile, like, I have proof, she turns back into Denise's human form, and George is like, what's like, no, this is unacceptable. Absolutely not. And they ship Todd to a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Okay. All right. First off, I got a question though. So sometimes when she's in monster form, she's naked, but sometimes she's wearing clothes in monster form. And like when she changed back into her human form, she was wearing her clothes, even though I don't think the monster was wearing clothes then.
Monster was naked. Yeah.
This is a real Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk problem I have with this, where he always gets his shirt back when he changes back from the Hulk, even though that's like thrown miles away.
Yes.
But anyway, now we meet our psychiatrist.
We're in the very beginning, we're playing with time. So clearly there were some time interchanges that have happened here.
That's true.
Thinking back to the development of those photos, he just shows up and needs the $6 and then is handed the photos. Like, time is irrelevant in this entire movie.
Yeah, we assume that the dad had a day trip now, as we're thinking about it with logic. But really, Todd could have been standing there for, a whole couple days watching his stepmonster in this trap, and then dad shows up, but we just cut out that part in this scene. So, yeah.
Yeah, and $6 is pretty cheap for 1 hour photos back then too.
Yeah.
Like usually you drop it off and pick it up like 2 days later at the earliest, We are unstuck in time. I think the comic book panel reasoning is making more and more sense as we progress in this movie.
Well, and that's kind of what I had to assign to it, because this is in the film plot where we now transfer to taking Todd to a psychiatrist. This is where I started to lose. I was on board here. I mean, it was a fun ride, but at this point, felt like beating a dead horse. We as the audience were put in the superior position where we know every bit of information about what's going on, who's doing it, where it's happening, the truth about the marriage reason or whatever. And we're just watching this kid get gaslit like 40 minutes for the second act. And I'm just like, just come on, get to it. So this is, for me, the psychiatrist introduction was just like, okay, here we go. We're just going to keep doing the same thing. Like, just get to the end. Come on.
But we get another celebrity cameo out of it.
We do, though. That's true.
Who's our celebrity, Meredith?
She was the woman in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's Edie McClurg. She's in all the John Hughes movies.
Planes, Trains, Automobiles. The clerk at the rental car.
The one that swears back at Steve Martin. Yeah.
Yes.
She's always in the shadowy room.
That's my note, is that the best therapy must happen in the dark, because this therapist office is just lit by a candle in another room.
Yeah, yes. It's probably just a room in the house that didn't have time to redecorate.
I think it was actually.
Roger Corman style. We're filming this in 5 days, guys. Come on.
In and out.
The long and short of that is that she asks to meet Denise. She needs to really get to the bottom of why Todd's having such a reaction. So that'll come up later.
This is the official, though, necessity for a horror movie, because the old trope of don't follow into the house where the bad things are happening. We've now turned it on our head. Just bring the fucking monster to me. Let's go.
This is the point in time of the movie where Grandpa takes Todd shopping, and we find the comic book that's got the key to defeating the tropopkins.
Yep, but of course it's one of 5 ever printed or left in existence, and it costs $500, a king's ransom.
Rare comic books. We are all familiar.
For which the kid has owned now 2.
Exactly.
Because the beginning is, you
He
know,
had the whole collection.
the comic book manifesting mom's disappearance as it flips through the pages when it's on the windows. And then seemingly that comic book disappears somewhere. I don't know whether it's in the collection that Dad took or if it blew out the window. I don't really remember. But one of the rare, only a handful of these exist comic books, the kid's about to acquire the second one.
And because this is a movie in 1993, our comic book guy nicknamed Spock and is like a total weirdo.
Yeah.
He is played by an actor, Sean Whalen, who's a character actor, who's in a lot of things, but is most famous as for his Got Milk commercial. He's the guy who eats too much peanut butter and tries to say Aaron Burr. And it's about the same time as this movie. So it's like, oh, that's the Aaron Burr guy, clearly. So
I don't know him for that, and I realize that I guess my timeline's just off. But I think I guess later is what you're trying to say. At the time of this film, he's most known for the Got Milk, yeah. But I immediately recognized Sean as the guy from Twister, right? Like,
who did he play in Twister?
He was one of the map reading guys of like Bill Paxton's squad.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm like that's the Twister guy because I love that film. That was my first thing. So I didn't.
And he was in The People Under the Stairs. He was in Never Been Kissed with Drew Barrymore. It says on IMDb he's also known for That Thing You Do as Heckler. So
nice.
Small parts in big movies, big parts in small movies.
Yeah.
He's our sort of guy around.
Love that. All right. What are we doing here? We need to raise money to buy the comic book, or right now it's maybe a lost cause. He leaves disappointed. Later that night, Todd is still perving on Wendy, but she has learned and she pulls the shade down. So that's good. That's character development.
She pulls her shade down after she's already in her bra and panties in front of the window.
Well, she's not perfectly learning, but she did remember.
Old habits die hard.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, but he also, because he's perving, sees Denise, and Denise heads into Wendy's home. So he's like, oh no, my perv girl.
Yes.
Right, so
I forgot that happens. I have no idea what happens next.
Oh, well, let me tell you.
Okay.
So Todd runs out of the house, and he runs to her open window with no screen, because bugs don't exist in this universe. Right. He climbs inside. So she's angry, right? As she would be. She's in her underwear. She's angry. And now she's like, I'm going to call your dad because this is over the line. She opens her bedroom door and lo and behold, it's the monster. Denise is hungry. She is monstered out. She wants to eat Wendy. All right. So Todd gets to play a little bit of the hero. He pushes the monster out of the window. And now Wendy finally believes that Denise is a monster.
Oh, I do remember this now because he like kind of lightly pushes her and then she's like pulled out of the window by a rope. Like the transfer of physics was very odd there.
Physics.
But when you have the time dilation of this movie, it makes sense that momentum could change instantly.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So we need to get that comic book, and Todd has a bright idea. He pawns his violin to get the money to buy the comic book. Unfortunately, before Todd reads the comic book, George finds it and tears the comic to pieces.
Yeah, instead of reading it then and there, he takes it home, walks in front of his dad with it, and then his dad tears it to pieces.
Yes.
So there was actually a moment. So we actually went to the comic book store 3 times, I believe. And the middle time is after there's now multiple people who have seen this monster. The babysitter and Todd go to the store, and she only has like $150, I think. Like they try to pull their money together, and then he's like, "Oh, screw it! I'll just pawn my." So we keep going. Again, this is the part of the movie where I was just like, just beating a dead horse. Please just jump to the part that we need.
Well, because it's like we have a problem. Here's the solution. We'll do the solution. Here it is.
Yes.
So the comic book is destroyed. What will our heroes do? Our heroes are going to go through the trash.
Which is
Okay,
by destroyed,
so also,
it was just torn apart. It wasn't like it was burned or
Right.
So not only is he taking lewd pictures of the neighbor girl, he's also making her pay for the comic book, and he's making her fish through the trash because he's the one that's putting the pieces together, I guess.
Yes.
So like, I don't know. I feel like Wendy's really got some sort of horrible relationship with this kid. Like,
this is all working off of a promise that was made at the photo mat. Okay, you give me this $6, I'll make my dad give a raise.
You're right.
Also, we have to to remember she is his longtime babysitter. So she's known this kid forever. And in her mind, the perving is a recent development. So she's got
so
all
she
of this
feels some
like,
affection for him.
Is it
yeah.
though? Is it though? Because whenever we first get introduced to her character, after he calls her, she comes in and is like immediate, like no kissing, no touching, don't do, don't
Oh,
hit on me. So I bought it as like, why is she
good point.
surprised that he's a creep? Like she knows she's like allowing him.
There's history.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did
And
forget.
so the women in this movie are constantly making men wait for sexual activity. So clearly she is waiting for him to be 16 years
Flem.
old, and
Flem's getting
she's
the
the
milk.
pervy one.
The only one getting milk here is Flem, man.
And probably Grandpa.
No, Grandpa
He's got-
definitely is.
He's got a whole harem in his basement.
Oh,
We just don't know about that till the spinoff.
All right, well, guess what, folks? It's the summer solstice.
Finally.
Oh, so that means it's the wedding day.
It's the wedding day. Everybody is very formally dressed for a wedding that's going to happen in the living room, but okay, it's great. We have costuming. That's nice. Todd
But we have
registered.
this wedding, and it's like just the characters we've met. Like we're not paying extras for a
Right.
crowd scene or anything like that. This is a
Yeah.
wedding
Except
of
for the efficient.
yep, we have to pay the efficient, who is our next celebrity cameo.
That's right.
TV's John Astin, Gomez Adams himself, Harry Anderson's dad on Night Court, Sean
Yeah.
Astin's real stepfather, Mackenzie Astin's real father. I threw in Mackenzie Astin for all you Garbage Pail kids fans out there.
I think is this probably our most famous cameo
Maybe.
as far as like a notable face. Like as soon as like I think there's generations of people.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe Corey Feldman and him are probably at the top. Like, and Edie McClurg is somebody who you know, but you don't know her name.
Well, sorry, I'm speaking from like 1990.
Oh, from 1993?
Right,
I
right.
mean, Corey Feldman is more famous in 1993, I think. He's just on the downturn.
Okay.
The Corey.
The Corey.
Okay, it's time. Let's
It's
get
time.
married.
Yeah. And John Astin is coughing throughout all this for some reason, and then he lights up a cigarette at the end, so I guess he has emphysema. Is that a joke? I don't know.
So
Maybe he just did, and then they had him light up a cigarette to explain it. I don't know.
Maybe he's coughing. No second take.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of buy that now because I was trying to figure out. I thought maybe we've had the violin as like a possible like weakness to the monster. We've had the flashing bulb of the camera as a possible weakness to the monster, and I was like, are like germs or something, or like some kind of like weird bodily function also a thing? I didn't get that at first.
Okay, so I was also kind of on that train, but like kid, I can't remember that kid's name after all this. Todd?
Yes, Todd. Yes.
Is doing things to sabotage the wedding. Like he's waxing the stairs, which causes her to like fall off the stairs. He's doing this, that, and the other. I assumed he had like put something in a drink.
Yeah.
And I was looking at my phone, or had done something to sabotage the priest, so the priest couldn't officially marry them. But no, he's just coughing.
Summoning phlegm. Was phlegm in the scene?
Summoning phlegm.
You gotta get
He's
that
coughing. We need phlegm.
Other things that happened during the wedding, the fire department is called. Todd prematurely starts taking flash wedding photography before the vows are really said.
He is no Kevin McAllister when it comes to setting these traps.
No.
He is not. Absolutely not. When Gomez says, does anybody have any objections? Todd yells, "She's a monster."
That happens at most weddings I go to. It's only been true half the time.
At that moment, too, as Todd's saying she's a monster, Grandpa and Grandma just kind of like pull him back. And it's like, no, we know she is.
Yeah, let the wedding.
Yeah.
And then amusingly enough, the wedding cake topper is a groom, and then I guess it must have been a real Gremlins figurine on top of it. Nobody mentions that. It's just a visual.
Todd also did not bring the rings down.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he threw the rings in the garbage disposal.
Yes, he did.
But that backfires because then the monster gets his mom's ring.
Yeah. Yes.
Which, wouldn't the mom have been wearing the ring?
You would think.
It's the only logical flaw I could find in this movie.
Only one.
Now it is time to have a wedding reception with just the family in the living room. Wedding reception. Yes.
You could have had the wedding reception at Olive Garden and not have even called ahead.
Yeah. Yes. It's one table.
All right. So Todd is sulking on the couch, and lo and behold, the missing piece of the torn up $500 comic has the key to defeating the monster. And that
the
key,
violin.
The
that he
violin.
pawns.
Yes.
The real gift of the Magi situation.
So he like runs to the pawn shop. It's closed. He cannot get his violin. Wendy comes to the rescue. She's got this boyfriend who plays in a band.
Yeah.
Is that Phlegm? Are we talking about Phlegm?
Yes,
You
we're talking
guys.
about Phlegm. Yay! So Phlegm gets his band. They have a lot of AV equipment because they play shows. They're a real band, you know,
Kind
with
of.
equipment
It's
and like
more real
chords
than
and
Corey
stuff.
Feldman's real band.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. Did he have his real band back then?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, so they drive up in their Scooby van with their band equipment, and Wendy's got her car, and they jury rig up a speaker set outside the house while George and Denise are getting ready to consummate the marriage, and they don't notice any of this. So they
Oh
rig
yeah,
all
there's a
this
bunch of
up.
shtickla happening while they're setting stuff up,
Yeah.
where the monster just wants to get boned by Dr.
Mhm.
Jason Seaver, but he is obsessed with making a toast first, and
Exactly.
keeps on going back. Oh, I forgot the bottle. Oh, I forgot the glasses. Oh, I forgot the corkscrew. I don't know how to work a corkscrew. I'm so dumb.
This is again where I was screaming at the TV, because not only did we go through the whole second act where I'm just like, come on, let's get to it. Now we are at the moment
Yes.
of literal and figuratively climaxing in this film, and
Mhm.
it's just like, oh, why do we keep having to stretch this out to get to 85 minutes?
It's the
Will
longest
wanted
day of
to
the
see-
year. What do you expect?
Well, I did forget that. You're right.
Yeah. Will wanted to see full monster penetration.
I just wanted, yeah, that's all I wanted.
We've seen his search history.
That's all I ever wanted.
All right, so they finally get everything set up, and Todd has a cassette of him playing the violin. They slam that into Wendy's car stereo, and they start playing, and Denise immediately reacts. She starts to monster out, and she knocks George out with the wine bottle. So George is unconscious. He's out of the game right now.
But he saw her monsterify, so at least he
He
knows
did.
she's a monster for real now, and his son's not alive.
Mhm.
Yes. It takes that for a man to believe his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No surprise.
Anyway, all right, so she runs outside. She's on the warpath. She's going to attack the kids outside. And they put like a floodlight, I guess from the gigs, they put a floodlight on her, turn up the volume. The harpy is trying to run to the rescue. And they like beat them both down. They're down on the ground, and then the music stops. And they believe that, but have
Yeah,
they
well,
won?
the harpy cuts a cord. Like
Oh,
like
yeah,
the harpy
it ate through the
like
AV
bites something, and
cords.
then sparks fly, and the whole system is broken. But the monster looks down. But it's a trick. Unprecedented in monster movies.
I've never seen this before in my life. The monster came back to life.
No,
Oh my
never.
God. All right, so the monster revives. Denise is back up, and Denise is looming over Todd. Flem and the band have retreated to their van. They are scared little boys because, of course, they are still teenagers. Wendy tries to drive off, but the car is dead because I guess the sound system was drawing power from her car battery. So she's
Sure.
yeah, whatever. And so the harpy is, excuse me, Denise is looming over Todd when sounds of a violin play from inside the house. It's George. He's got his own violin. He evidently knows how to play it.
Just as well as Todd.
Yeah, it's
For the
like
record.
yeah, and Alan Thicke clearly is a professional violin player here. It's not at him just kind of like moving a stick back and forth over a violin.
Yeah, no. So I mistakenly took this as this was Todd's pawned violin.
I
Because
assumed the dad had played the violin as a child and forced it upon his child as well.
If the time breakdowns in this movie remain consistent,
he-
then
he-
Dad
he-
went and got the violin from the pawn shop.
the only reason I say that is because whenever George tears up the very expensive comic book, out falls the pawn certificate from the pawn shop, and he looks
Oh.
at it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the film, because the denouement of this film is like 45 seconds. But in that moment, like I thought there was like a connection to like, I'm glad you went and got that, or I'm glad, we got that back or whatever. So I just assumed that he went and got the, his expensive, I guess, violin back, but maybe he had his own.
This is a David Lynch moment here. You've got to fill in these details yourself,
It is our responsibility. Yes.
Yeah, he really leaves it up to us.
Dad probably went to the pawn shop when Todd went to drop off the photo. Like that was they did those at the same time and just cut that out because we didn't need to watch that.
Actually, the pawn shop's actually the neighbor. That's where Wendy lived.
Yes.
It's just on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this successfully destroys Denise. I guess she like melts into the ground or something.
Yeah, she
face
kind
melting.
of melts like the evil gremlin at the end of a Gremlins movie with
Yeah.
like you kind of see the skeleton and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a Gremlins here a bit, but also My Stepmother is an Alien, but also,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everything. A little Lost Boys in there.
A
I
little
called
bit.
this Mars Attacks for the Upper Class. What I called this.
All right, and Todd gets that harpy with a baseball bat, and we're happy. At some point later, we're back in the
Yeah,
woods.
it could be tomorrow. It could be 6 months from now. Who knows?
No
Well, that
one
was the
can
thing
tell.
is that like my note was kill your new bride who you discovered is a shape-shifting monster in your front yard with music from a violin, and then immediately go inside and go to bed. Like that was literally the end, and then all of a sudden we're now back to where the summer vacation took place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a kids movie, so you don't have to ask things like, how did
Exactly.
they get a marriage license when this woman has no ID because she's a monster?
Exactly. You don't have to ask them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so we're back on the same spot in vacation, and they stumble upon the monster's cave.
They
And
do.
who knows what they find in there, Mary?
Well, a lot of cocoons with living people inside, in I guess suspended animation.
I guess because the kid is immediately like, oh yes, tropopkins use these to store food for the winter, but they were in the winter when the tropopkins first attacked. It was
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So they start breaking open the cocoons. They find two men who are grumpy and fully energetic, and they run out of the cave.
They
And
need air.
yeah, the third cocoon contains Abby.
Who was being
Yay.
like, hey, it was a tropopkin. We know.
Yep.
I had sex with it almost.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Alan Thicke did eventually get inside of this cave.
Whoa.
Yes. How do you come back from that? Can you have a healthy marriage
That's my note
once you
too on this.
learn?
How
Well,
awkward is this?
That's episodes 8 and 9 of the Hulu series is their awkward marriage. And, Alan Thicke feels weird every time he hears the violin now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big fallout from this. It's not just happy ending.
Oh
It's a
my
lot of
gosh.
trauma.
So much. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now, all right, it's 30 years later, and Todd
life?
would have his kids, and they'd be like grown or half grown by now. And that's the follow-up, the
Mhm.
trauma. And probably nobody believes in Hopkins, and they're just like, there's a 6 to 12 to 18-month period where the grandparents were split up, and nobody will tell them the reason why. They just have this monster story.
So you're pitching the A24 version of this where the monster is really generational trauma.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Well,
The
because
key is going to be finding that third final copy.
Well, and the person who has that third and final copy is the person who originally made the sign in the very beginning that we never discover, who clearly must know what a tropopkin is.
Yes.
And the comic book artist was a tropopkin, but just a self-loathing tropopkin who was giving away all their secrets.
The moral of man actually did have an effect on this tropopkin, so he's changed his
Amazing.
Yeah.
He's also the one that convinces them they have to get married before they have sex.
Just slow things down.
Okay, so one other thing I have to note, in all of our celebrity cameos and like higher production values than we're used to on this show, especially this season, there is a certified Oscar winner working on this movie. And if you guys know the name Wally Pfister,
Yes.
he used a pseudonym for this, but he was our DP for this movie. He was our cinematographer. And if you don't know who that is, he is Christopher Nolan's guy,
Nice.
who worked on the Dark Knight movies and Inception and basically all of them. And I believe he won the Oscar for Inception. So this is also why it looked a little better than our average Fred Olin Ray movie, because all the scenes weren't just 5 people standing in a row talking to each other. So,
Right.
I mean, I still think it was probably squeezed out in a weekend, but there is a little bit of quality in that.
It was good. It did look
That's
good.
interesting.
It did look good. All right, so we tend to force Michael to rate the movies at this point in the podcast.
Well, we make
Gunpoint.
the guests do it when the guests show up.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So we've got a five facet rating system.
Oh gosh, here we go.
It's
Mhm.
very complex. And
Points
if you
are
get it wrong, you're never invited back. So
right. That's
Oh, no.
true.
Sweat.
That's true. That's true. All right, so we rate films based on effort, quality / production value, entertainment and sense making. Not necessarily in that order. We do a 10-point scale. We would like to know, how well do you think that this movie did on those metrics? And we will go one at a time. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's make Judge go first.
All right, Judge.
Okay.
Out of 10, effort.
Effort?
Yeah.
Well, we've already talked about just kind of fast forwarding through a lot of the major buildup and plot points, and just being like, nope, we're here now. 2, 3, it's down there.
All right.
That's fair. That's fair. Will?
So again, I have a really hard time hating movies. I have a podcast of my own, and I'm given movies that are not great all the time. And my co-host hates sometimes that I defend things that don't deserve defending. So I would say that like my score for this will be higher because it is 85 minutes, and while I feel like some of it was stretched to painful degrees as far as time goes, I think we fit everything. There's not too much for as convoluted as this story is. There's really not too much that they didn't give us as far as in plot details. And we used what we had. We used the location that we had. We used as many connections and people who were willing to stop in for, a day rate as we possibly could. So I actually think for effort, I might give it like a 5 out of 10.
All right. Wow. Generous.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of these movies. This is our 3,000th movie. I'm going to go 6 for this one because like none of the actors were phoning it in, and we've seen actors phone it in quite a bit. Like we watched Steven Seagal in Sniper Special Ops, so they cleared that bar. So
Sure did. All right. How about quality / production value? Judge.
Well, I think that you've got to answer this question in time.
Mhm.
So I'm certainly not answering the question by what we can produce in 2025. So if you look back to when this was in these, everything was really on par with what there were with respect to special effects. So, and they used all of the, especially like with the harpy, you've got this moving, probably puppet. You don't actually see a lot of the obvious things oftentimes in, older horror films or whatever. Think about the days of Lost in Space with the foil balls that are just getting thrown around. We're not there. So we actually have decent production value. I'd say this was probably again, adjusted for time, probably in the 7 range.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bill, how about you?
I have to agree. Just because, again, going back with like, the whole independent feel of this, I've seen worse, right? Especially for this time. And especially even for, I'm very much familiar with Roger Corman. Not so much Fred Olen Ray, but thank you for opening my eyes. So I also know that what he can do sometimes or put out. So yeah, I have to agree, 7 out of 10, because while it was kind of silly, I think, especially now, at the time, I really liked how we did the visual transition on screen. The fact that we actually got to see that, and it wasn't just a series of like hard cuts, then boom, it was there. So they spent the time to like actually show us something. The costume for the monster was actually kind of elaborate. The harpy, as Judge said, like there was actually movement to it that wasn't just like Ray Harryhausen style, stop motion. There was at least 2 locations, and we used them, to our best ability. And then, like I said, as far as even like the script goes, we actually kind of were, now save for like, locations and time, we were like given all like the seeds of the plot, and then they were all filled in, and we utilized them all in the climax. Every single thing that we were shown, the baseball bat, the camera flash, the music, the flim boyfriend, all those elements came together. So yes, 7 out of 10.
I'm gonna drop it just to 6.5. I'm on the same page as this. I wish the harpy had a little bit more articulation in the arm when we're flying around. It was very stiff. I think that's a great monster costume. It's nice and slimy for the main monster. And we do see it in daylight a lot. But I think I rather would have seen some cutaways than the weird like kind of dissolve effect of like it. Just the weirdly kind of, I don't know if it's a digital effect or what it is, but just kind of like we cut from one
Seems
part,
like
shot
the
to another shot.
transition. Yeah.
it's very, that seems very dated to me, which I know of the time it was probably, you know, pretty new and all that, but it seems like sub Mighty Morphin Power Rangers kind of stuff
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
So.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to sense making.
Oh,
Did
10 out
this
of 10, right,
movie,
guys? Right again.
Judge, did this movie make any sense to you?
Well, I mean, I would say that they, you know, we've talked about the time element. So if we're taking it on ourselves to fill in these gaps, then everything actually was very linear the way that it went. In fact, I remember watching in that very first, you know, early scene where the kid's fishing and then hears the rumbling in the bush. I could almost imagine that as he's following that path, like I knew he was going to end up back where they were and back where the step monster was. Like they didn't hide it. You know, they gutted it for time to get where we are when we are. But other than that, it actually was incredibly linear. And if you were paying as much attention as somebody in the time would, because we didn't have, you know, all of the devices and stuff in our hands to distract us constantly from everything, you don't not know what's going on here. I mean, I think that as far as it making sense, not, you know, suspending the disbelief that is you know, the existence of these monsters, it's 8+.
8+, got it. All right, Will.
Yeah. So I definitely agree because I mean, I think sense making, how I'm going to define it, it will be strictly plot. Did I understand the plot? And at the end, did I have any questions? Now, are there plot holes? Yes, but I think find me a movie that doesn't have. The only, because my only issue with the film was that we were almost explained too much too soon, and it was very clear too soon what was happening. And that was actually the detriment, is that it made too much sense at the end. Now, yes, we were given a heavy burden to suspend lots of disbelief and just buy into the programming, which is fine if you can handle that. Maybe some audiences nowadays can't do that. But yeah, I felt the same way. But I will also say that there definitely were some things that, even though we were explained them and we were told them, I felt like it was also trying to build this tropopkin universe up to be something more than even we were allowed to see. And we were only given the surface of this situation. So again, like the whole moral thing, like why do they have morals? Why do, you know, all this kind of stuff, right? So I'll give it a 6 out of 10, just because there were some things that were like, well, you know, what is that for?
I think I lean towards 6 out of 10 too, which is a little high based on like what I'm actually watching. But usually, so many of these Fred Olen Ray movies have setup with no payoff and payoff with no setup. At least
Right.
we even set up like him using the baseball bat at the end and the violin and all this other stuff. There's definitely a lot of questions there. I've been so beaten down by Fred Olen Ray logic. And if you're a little kid, like if you are 11 years old watching this movie, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Really, though, we need Joe Dante to direct Stepmonster 2 and ask all these questions in the movie itself.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's always after midnight somewhere.
That brings us to entertainment value. Was this movie entertaining?
All right, Judge, we're making you go first every time this time.
Yeah, I think more about this one, okay?
Doing his math out loud.
Man, I don't know that, other than going back to answer questions that only exist because of these logical fallacies, that I'm spending too much time on this. So, I mean, I'm spending more time on this than I care to, just thinking about the entertainment value of it. I mean, it is your, okay, let's come up with some kitschy rubber mask alien horror movie. Boom. You know, it's 4-ish. I'll go and give it a 4. I mean, it's, if anything, it's digging into the perviness of the grandfather and how just understood that these certain elements of just, you know, you guys are fucking, or hey, good on you, buddy. That's a great vantage point that you have there. You know, whatever this encouragement coming from Grandpa is, I think is the added element that gives most of this in my mind. Just revisiting that.
Brilliant.
So for me, yeah, I'm gonna go with I think this is my lowest score, which is, it seems counter to what I've just said before. But yeah, I was entertained for, you know, the first 20 minutes, and then I got very just kind of, I had to really focus. And this is, I'm answering for me. So not for like a child of like the early 90s or anyone else. But I had to really like fight to like pay attention on the second half. So that's where my entertainment value started high and then started to like crash. And then we had that climactic, or the build up to the climax, with just George fumbling the moment over and over and over again while we assemble this death machine of music. And then that happens, and the climax of the face melting violin was kind of great, but then we totally just like tossed it out the window and was like, okay, movie's over, we're done, and then we had this weird like bow tying moment of finding the mom, I guess, just to make it a happy ending, or to answer that question. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 4 out of 10. Was it fun? Sure, it was fun. But as far as was I entertained throughout, I don't know. I started off high and it crashed. So
yeah, I think I'm in agreement with a lot of that, because like the first half of this movie is more entertaining than the second half, which is a problem for any movie. And I was more annoyed with Alan Thicke's boobery than amused by it. But in the final act of this movie, we got to see a monster in lingerie. So like we saw Tropopkin and its Hetty, so that's an immediate 6.5 for me.
Okay.
And maybe even higher if you compare this. We watched what's it, Abner the Invisible Dog and Billy Frankenstein, and those are so punishing. This one was actually like this was no worse than something I watched on Nickelodeon with my kid, 15, 20 years ago. Like, this is the same level of entertainment as iCarly Go to Japan. So yeah, I'm sticking with 6.5. Damn it. God damn it.
All right, good. Beautiful. All right, any parting thoughts on Stepmonster?
I think we've said more than anyone has ever said about Stepmonster, especially
well, except for the Wikipedia page. I mean, like clearly there's someone out there who loves to talk more about this film.
That's right.
Well, and it's so funny because it's not available it's available on YouTube like 3 different times. And if you watch it on YouTube, it's pretty decent quality for a VHS movie. Yeah. And I didn't get any commercial breaks, which is better than Tubi or Pluto TV or any of these others. Yeah. But you can't even buy a streaming version on Amazon. They only offer you like a DVD for like $85 or something like that. So this is a hard movie to.
That's because there's only 3 of them in existence.
Exactly.
There's only 3 of them left in existence.
Yeah. I have one, and it's worth $500 if you guys want it.
Yeah. So email Will if you want to buy one of the 3 remaining Ds. So, Judge, where can we find you?
You can search Judge Mentalist anywhere. That'll probably have me come up on most social media platforms, at least any of the ones that aren't crazy right-wing nut job platforms, or judgementalist.com.
Will, you mentioned a podcast. What do you got?
Yeah, so you can find me at one of the Wills on almost every social media platform, I think. My podcast is called What Was That Called Again? And it's WWDCA Pod. And what we do is every week, my co-host brings me 3 IMDb synopses, and I have to try to match those synopses to the titles. And it plays with my inability to remember names, titles, or anything of importance. So sometimes I will have seen the films that are presented to me, and then he will give me the 3 titles to link those to, and I'll be like, damn it, I know it's one of these, but which one? It's a game show format, but the points don't matter, of course. And that, like I said, is available, I think, wherever you get your podcasts from. So WWTCA Pod, or What Was That Called Again, is the podcast.
Brilliant.
Meredith, where do we find you?
Here.
Oh, and here.
Oh, hi.
Meredith's
There you
house.
Yes. I don't like to leave my house.
Thanks a lot to our guests for showing up. And I think we've got only 1 movie left this season.
Oh, no kidding. Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm letting you off easy. And in order to celebrate, we're going to watch a movie that we have to pay $2 on Amazon for.
Big bucks.
Wow. What is this movie?
It's a movie called Maggots. And it's, I think, currently sitting at about the 2 out of 10 star range on IMDb. So it's going to be high quality. Not since Amityville Death House have we seen a film of such high quality.
Oh my God.
Well, thanks everyone for coming out. I should probably let you go back on with your lives. Spending 2 hours with Stepmonster plus the hour and a half watching it is probably more time than they spent making Stepmonster.
Yes. I didn't mention this, but I actually watched it twice. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Going Over Our Freds was created and produced by us, Michael Kennedy and Meredith Halsey.
Our theme was composed and performed by Justin Nozick. Find more music for him at Bandcamp. Search for The Plague Physicians.
Artwork by Michael Kennedy. Special thanks to J Mac for the Who Scoops Invasion jingle. And thank you for listening.
If you'd like to hear more from us, subscribe to Going Over Our Freds on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on Twitter at Goof Podcast, and find us on Instagram at Going Over Our Freds.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. For questions, comments, and complaints, email us at goingoverourfreds@gmail.com.
Thanks.